Hello everyone, I am back with the TVT Mech Guide. You guys have been requesting this quite a bit because it was delayed, but in the end it was good that it was delayed, which I'll explain a little bit later. But first I want to update you guys on TVP. So you've probably seen the TVP guide, and in the TVP guide I mentioned that I think you just stay on Cyclones, but because it's new patch, things changed. So I just want to update you guys. If you're playing TVP and if you're facing high Immortal, Colossus, Disruptor army with Stalkers or just kind of like ranged units in general, you do want to make siege tanks, which you'll see in my Battle Mech to Grandmaster playthrough. And if you're facing like huge amounts of adepts or charge lots, especially air units, you should go for Widow Mines with the burrow. So it will also make them burrow faster, but also require for the opponent to have detection in order to kill them. So again, that's a small update, so don't just stay on Cyclones whole game. In the late game, there's what a lot of people ask: how do you deal with Tempest? The best way I found to deal with Tempest is just have a lot of Cyclones, use your mobility, try to lock onto the Tempest from like maybe two sides, because they're really easy to kill and they die really quickly. And overall, I just found the Widow Mines to be extremely useful against Protoss. So my army composition in mid to late game looks kind of like, for example, like let's say 10-15 siege tanks, like 10 to 20 Widow Mines, and the rest is Hellion Cyclone, because you do want to have them in order to engage Protoss army and just kind of snipe things. But that's it for the TVP update. Just wanted to kind of let you guys know that like I said, it's a new patch, so things changed, and you know, the meta game adapts like always in StarCraft. So I did delay TVT guide, and I'm actually glad I did delay it. The reason for that is same like TVP. What happened is initially my TVT started with me doing 8 factories with no starport, and I was doing fine, but the more I played, people kind of figured out how to deal with Cyclones a little bit better, and then I figured that I really need to get a starport. I cannot play just with factories, because some of the maps that we have in the map pool, the Liberator positionings are really strong, and you cannot kill them and break them without Vikings. So Cyclones against Liberators work on bigger maps that are more open. You can kind of, you know, kite, you can lock on, but not on the maps like Stasis. And the reason why I delayed the TVT guide is because I knew that I don't really have a concrete way of playing yet. So I wanted to give it a little bit of time so I can figure out what to do and, you know, what the proper build is and how to go about it. Alright, sorry about that. Let's get started with the build itself. So I'm scouting normal and 17 supply. You know, you want to make sure you're not getting cheesed, you're not getting proxied. There's a lot of proxies with 2 barracks because Cyclones are weaker against proxies, and the reason for that is you actually need a tech lab for that, so it delays the Cyclones. So be careful of a lot of proxy to Rex Reaper. Now, I do gas first in TVT into barracks. The reason for that is if you're facing proxy 2 racks, if you went gas first, you're gonna have instantly 100 gas. So right now, if I'm seeing that, you know, he's missing his buildings, I can throw down a factory, I can go Reaper into factory. But if I do know it's proxy 2 barracks, I like to go straight into factory with this 100 gas, make a marine, and maybe make a bunker in a location that would kind of help you defend the proxy Reaper. So that's one reason why I like to go gas first. The second one is, well, you want to get factory as soon as you can and start getting those Cyclones out. So, oh, okay. So, a Reaper coming out, and at this point it's pretty much standard. I've talked through this in every Terran versus Terran guide that I did, how to scout, where to send the Reaper. Once you've confirmed that he is expanding or he's not expanding, you can use your Reaper appropriately. So, for example, if he's expanding as well, I suggest not to take risks, like put Reaper maybe here or keep it in your main base. Don't go Rainbow on the other side of the map, because what might happen is the opponent might be making a second Reaper. So if you lose the first one, then he's going to attack you with 2, and you're either going to have you know, tech lab making and no units, or you might have a Reaper left at home and you will just die. So one thing I want to mention and talk about before we continue is there are two options you can do from here on out. When this Reaper finishes, you can go for the second Reaper and then a tech lab, because you will have time, because the factory takes 43 seconds to build, the Reaper takes 32, and then tech lab takes 18, so by the time you swap factory, the second Reaper will be done. Now, the benefits of going second Reaper as well is it's safer if you play a mirror match, and by mirror I mean both of you are expanding. Like I said, there's a lot of like trickiness in the early game, and with this build you're trying to get the Cyclone as fast as you can, so you will not be making that one Hellion. Or you can just make one Reaper into the tech lab. If you're curious when should I do this one, when should I do that one, that is up to you. If you're playing ladder games and a lot of people are going to, expanding and then going 2 Reapers instead of just one, then just add your own second Reaper and play defensive, catch the Reapers, and then get an advantage that way. If you're playing in whatever league you're playing and everyone is just doing 1 Reaper, you can also just do 1 Reaper, or you can go for your 2 Reapers and put on some aggression, and that depends on you, what kind of player you are and what kind of players you're facing. Both are fine. When I play ladder, if I know I'm playing against a specific player, Terran player that's aggressive, I like to go for 2 just to be safe. But otherwise, I just do 1 Reaper, especially on bigger maps. Now, this build is pretty much the same like I don't know why I paused. Pretty much the same like TVP one. So, second supply depot, second gas, getting the tech lab, getting the factory, and this will be also a fast 3cc build. I figured that there's no point to open Hellions in this matchup, because if you face Cyclones, you're gonna have a lot of issues, and I was just like, yeah, it kind of makes sense to do the exact same build. Now, one thing I want to mention, I'm going to pause right here because this is something that gave me trouble as well. So I'm going to tell you guys how to deal with it and kind of help you out with that one. So if you scatter with an SCV that the opponent is opening 1-1-1 before expanding, what you need to be careful about, there's this timing that arrives about in like 5 to 10 seconds where I have 2 Reapers and a Hellion, and your Cyclone just kind of started. It's like you need to wait like 20 seconds. You need to be very, very careful of that timing. I haven't found any good solution, so sometimes I do take like 1 or 2 SCV losses. The reason why there's no good solution is it's kind of like a little bit complicated, but I'll try to explain it the best way possible. So I'm gonna go a little bit further. So about at this point, when your SCV is about to finish the command center, 2 Reapers and a Hellion might arrive if they're opening 1 base. And in that case, what you want to do is delay the opponent as much as you can for your Cyclone to come out. So don't try to defend the low ground. This SCV should go back in the main base if you know that you're facing 1-1-1 build off of 1 base. And then just try to buy time for your Cyclone to come out. Maybe even pull 3-4 SCVs to think for the Reapers. Because of the wall off, the Hellion won't be able to go into the main base, so you'll effectively be fighting 2 Reapers with a Reaper and a couple of SCVs. Try to do some SCV micro by pulling the weak SCVs back so you don't lose them, and once you've bought a little bit of time, your Cyclone will come out and you will be fine. Now, you might be wondering, why don't you just make a Hellion? Well, if you make a Hellion before Cyclone, and he goes Cyclone first, you're gonna die. So I found that it's better to just go straight into Cyclone and just kind of defend, delay the 2 Reapers as much as you can without taking too many losses, and just get that Cyclone out, and that's it. If they overextend, which you'll probably see a lot, then the Cyclone will get a lock on and you'll get at least 1 Reaper, maybe even both, with your Cyclone, because he won't really be able to contest. Now, I got that out of the way. I'm going to continue now with the build. Obviously, you get the Mech Fill accelerators. They're very, very good. If the opponent is also going for Cyclones, you will absolutely destroy them. And you're going Mech, so, might as well get them as soon as you can. Same things apply like always. You want to, if your Reaper is still alive, you want to go around 310, 315. enter the opponent's base, see if they're going like Cloak Banshees, if they were one basing, or if they were expanding. You want to check what's on the, what add-ons does he have. Is he going starport? Does he have reactor in the barracks, reactor in the factory? Just kind of getting the info all around. And the only thing that I would say to be careful of is if you see 1-1-1 either before or after expand for Cloak Banshees. In that case, just make a missile turret. It's very easy to defend Banshees with Cyclones. That doesn't mean that Banshees are terrible in this patch, because a lot of people ask me about it. It just means that if you're the one who's playing with Cyclone, I think you'll have a lot easier time dealing with them. If you're seeing a 1-1-1 build with no Cloak, well, there's going to be either a Liberator or a Medevac. So kind of position your Cyclones accordingly. Like, don't put your Cyclones here, because it's just not needed. It's always best to keep your Cyclones around this area, between the main and the natural, because you don't really know where your opponent will attack you. Getting the vision in the main base by building a supply depot. Getting that third command center, like just like in TVP, still making Cyclones. And I found that the magical Cyclone number in TVT is about 4 to 6. Now, how to know when you should make more, when you should make, when you should make 4, when you should make 6. For me, that personally depends on how the game went so far. So, what do I mean by that? Let's say he's doing a medevac drop right now, and I snipe, a medevac, and I killed 2 Hellions in the natural. Obviously, that went really well for me, so I'm gonna go up to 5-6 Cyclones to try to put some counter pressure. If he attacked and we just kind of traded, or maybe he's not even aggressive, I'll just go for 4 Cyclones so I can transition faster to siege tanks and, just have more kind of bulkier army. If he's not being aggressive at all, and you can see that he's going fast into 3 or 5 barracks, transition to siege tanks straight away, because he is doing some kind of 2-base push, and the more Cyclones you make, the less it will be good for you when he actually pushes out, because you need siege tanks in order to defend that. Now, third base is finishing. The extra 2 factories are coming up. I'm gonna go back a little bit so you guys can see the timings properly. So there we go. I think around 4 minutes I add double gas on the natural. Even though I have almost no CVs on the natural, you do want to get that gas mining as soon as you can, because you do need to produce 2 siege tanks at the same time. So yeah, 4 minutes, get the double gas. As soon as you get the double gas, you will have 200 gas soon. Pop down double factory. And from then on out, just kind of play it out normally. It's very important. I think the most important part in this build is the early to about 5-6 minutes into the game, because there's a lot of reacting to what your opponent is doing and knowing which units to make and where to put them and stuff like that. And if you mess up any of those, you can literally just straight up die. Never try to fight with Cyclones by auto-attacking. Always try to lock on and then kite away. So never just like sit there and, do nothing. No matter what units you're fighting against, always lock on and just kite with them. Okay, so getting my engineering bay as well. I was pretending this game everything is standard, nothing special is going on, and I think, I played out this game as if it was a 2-base push. I played out the build order. The reason why I did that is because most of you had told me that's what you're struggling with, like 2-base, Marine, Marauder, tank pushes. So you can see I made 4 Cyclones, and 4 Cyclones are more than enough to take care of any drops, any Liberators, any Banshees, and then going straight into siege tanks so I can hold my third base at this point. Now, I'm going to pause here once again. You will have extra minerals around this time because your reactor is building, you're building siege tanks. If you have extra minerals, start putting down missile turrets. Don't don't put too many. The priority is always SCVs, units, supply depots, but if you have more minerals like 300-400, put down some missile turrets, because the easiest way to lose with mech is getting dropped. What else did I want to mention? Yes, the starport. The starport is very, very important in this matchup, which I've found out the hard way by losing to Liberators. But I thought a lot about when is the best time to put down the starport. Now, Personally, in my games, if when I play ladder, I will probably be going up to 5 factories and then the starport, because at this point in the game, you'll most likely be meeting medevac drops and stuff like that. You'll not be meeting liberators this early, so you can delay the starport until you have 5 factories in full unit production. But if you're not confident with this playstyle, if you don't have enough experience, I would say once these 2 factories finish up, then at the starport, get a reactor for it and start popping Vikings so you can have that air control. That is my suggestion for you guys. Again, you can test both ways. You can try it this way. You can try going up to 5 factories and then starport. Both work. It just depends on you guys, how much experience you have with it and what you're comfortable with doing. But at the end, I think that 5 factories first into starport would be better. Now you can see I still don't have armories. You don't want to rush them super quick, especially because TVT meta is very, very aggressive, especially if they scout into your mech. They will most likely do a big 2-ace push, so you don't really care about having the upgrades. You just want to have constant unit production and just getting out as many units as you possibly can. Because what I've found out, like if you defend the first push well, the game isn't necessarily over, but you have your 3rd CC, they haven't even started their 3rd at this point, and all you need to do is defend, and you'll have a good time. Once you get a 3rd, I would definitely suggest getting a sensor tower so you can see where the opponent is approaching, so you can reposition your tanks. This is how I always siege my tanks initially. And what you can also do is send out a Hellion. This is something I suggest to everyone. Send out a Hellion in front of their base. That will enable you to see when the Terran is moving out. And then maybe hold down the watchtowers. And that way you can, instead of having, you know, siege thing here, siege thing there, and then the opponent comes from here and just crushes you, you can reposition this tank. You can reposition this tank here so that your whole army is focused in dealing with his whole army, instead of you kind of getting picked apart, which is something I've seen a lot of players do. They make that mistake of not knowing where the opponent is. So make sure that you have a Hellion or 2 active on the map, because the power that the Hellion will give you by giving you the intel where the opponent's army is far greater than, you know, having a Hellion right here tanking like, you know, 10 marine shots and dying. So I have my armory, starting +1 weapons, +1 armor, and some of you may think, well, this is not battle mech, this is just mech. Well, in TVT you cannot play pure battle mech. If you watch my battle mech videos or to Grandmaster on YouTube, you've seen that against Protoss, like I said, I mix in a lot of tanks, a lot of Wood Mines, but you do open with Cyclones. Then in the mid game you kind of go for bulkier army, and then later stages you will be adding Cyclones still, because they have a lot of value in the late game against air units, and they're just very mobile, very good to snipe down bases. So this is battle mech in TVT, boys. Let's see. If the opponent is going for more air heavy army, obviously keep making Vikings the whole time. You need their air control. Get a couple of Thors, get Cyclones. Cyclones are really, really good against both Vikings and Liberators, but be very careful because they're super, super squishy. Make sure you're not getting supply blocked. Keep making your supply depots. And as your economy is growing, if you have more than 400 minerals and everything is queued up like units, get another CC, make more missile turrets, and just kind of keep macroing. Now, I'm going to talk about another thing that's super important, and it's only relevant to this patch, which I'm super, super excited about. This is something I used to do before Widow Mines were nerfed, so you guys probably know. When the Widow Mine shoots right now, it becomes visible, but with the Drilling Claws upgrade, once you have that, the Widow Mines, after they're shot, they are still burrowed, and the opponent needs detection to see them. So you might be wondering, well, aren't Widow Mines really bad in TVT? Like, you know, TVT is just ranged units. Well, you're not going to use them with your army. The way I love using Widow Mines in TVT is using them like mini sensor towers. So what I love to do is put a Widow Mine here with Burrow, Widow Mine here, Widow Mine here, Widow Mine here, Widow Mine here. So that way, no matter where your opponent is moving, you can see his army every time the Widow Mine shoots. Obviously, you will see the units, and then he will be forced to scan to remove the Widow Mine, which not only you get the value of scouting, but you also get the value of forcing your opponent to scan, so he won't be able to mule, he won't be able to scan your army, which is for 75 minerals and 25 gas, like extremely good. So that's definitely something I suggest. Don't make Widow Mines with your army. Again, it's TVT, they will not help you unless you're facing extremely high numbers of Viking, Raven, Battlecruiser. Then I think the Widow Mines are also good because they can just run under the air army, burrow, and just explode everything. Continue expanding. After your third base, everything should be planetary. Make missile turrets, make more CCs, keep your upgrades going. And that is pretty much it. The benefit of this kind of mech compared to the previous patch mech is I feel a lot more safer in mobile, because if I manage to defend early and if the opponent is playing really greedy, you can put a lot of pressure, and I've had games where I actually just killed my opponent. Like for example, I would push in with like 4-6 Cyclones here, I scan, his tank is like about to siege up here, you lock onto that little bish and you just pop it right off. Then it's whatever is left is like Marines, which you can easily kite, and the games can snowball very easily in your favor. These are the Widow Mines that I was talking about. The opponent will be forced to scan so much, and they're like your mini sensor towers. You can also burrow them at the expansions. So if he has this base, and the main base, you can burrow Widow Mine here, Widow Mine here. So then you also know when he's going to take the next base, because he'll be forced to come there, scan, and why would he, randomly go there and scan unless he's planning to expand. But yeah, keep the air control. Again, just like regular mech, around 180 supply, 190 supply, you probably want to start moving out. Make sure to know where your opponent's army is. Add some more Cyclones in the late game. Don't have like a 30 siege tank army. You need about 12 to 16 tanks maximum. You don't need more than that. After that, they kind of lose value. In my opinion, do Hellion run-bys. If the opponent is running a very immobile army himself, like maybe he's also playing mech, or maybe he's running heavy air army, what I like to do is, if I'm about 150 supply and I realize he's doing that, I'll just make like 10 Cyclones and run with 20 Hellions around and just kill everything, because your army will be more mobile, and Viking Liberator are not really the kind of army to defend that, because even if he arrives, you just lock on it and kill them, because Cyclones deal insane amount of damage to armored units. Same thing with mech. Obviously don't run in with your Cyclones into siege tanks, but you can always pick off units, and that's the great part about Cyclones. And that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. Again, check out my stream at twitch.tv beastiecutie if you want to see how I play Battle Mech in Grandmaster. I think I'm ranked 20-30 Grandmaster right now in EU. And also check out my YouTube series Battle Mech to Grandmaster to see more examples of the games, how I execute these strats. And the last thing I want to mention is this is the last guide in the Battle Mech series that I'm making. Things obviously might change in the future, the meta might change, people might figure something out. Maybe this doesn't become as good, although I think this is pretty stable way to play. I think this is the best mech that we've had probably in a long time. Well, except when we had Ravens that did stuff, but yeah. Feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any. But that will be it for the guide. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something new today. I hope you enjoy playing mech, and I hope more people play mech in the future. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, and make sure to check out one of my previous videos. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys next time.